Now to weigh in, Tennessee Congressman Tim Burchett. Congressman, what are your thoughts here?
Well, I think the Democrats really had two problems. One was the midterm elections, and the second, of course, is Joe Biden. You notice they waited, I think, 40 days after the Justice Department found these files, and now they can't pump them out fast enough to where they're finding these classified documents. So I think of course, it's a double standard. They didn't raid his house. They didn't raid his residency. But I think it's pretty clear to me that the Democrats want rid of Joe Biden. That's why none of them have apparently been briefed on the contents of what was in these files, which to me I find is very unusual. And so they can kind of keep plausible deniability. Then you combat that with the fact that he is a albatross around their neck, and as well as the vice president. And I suspect his own people were the ones who dug deep enough. It's very Clinton-esque of the Democrats to do this at this point.
I wanted to ask you about something. I think the president said this today. Do we have that clip from him talking about guns? Okay, let's listen to what he had to say. Yeah, hey, you're a Tennessee guy. I lived in Tennessee for 11 years, and I know how people there value their Second Amendment. Let's listen to what he said.
Yeah.
I am going to get assault weapons banned. I did it once. I'm going to do it again. There's no social redeeming value. Deer aren't wearing Kevlar vests out there. What the hell you need an assault? No, I'm serious. And ban the number of bullets that go in a magazine. There's no need for any of that.
Congressman, your thoughts here?
Well, those cartel members that are flowing over our border like water, I don't believe they're coming over with their automatic weapons. I think the American public should be able to be armed. And also, Joe Biden's Corvette, it'll probably do 160. It's probably got a governor on it. Probably should with his condition. But that Corvette he talks about, why in the hell would it need to go 160 miles an hour? And why isn't it just have a governor on it and keep it at 55 miles an hour? This is America. We enjoy our freedom. I was at a gun show yesterday with hundreds, if not thousands, of freedom-loving Americans, and they are not the problem. It's the criminals that are the problem, and they need to get tough on crime. They don't have the guts to do it. You've got an inept president who is his cognizant value is diminishing daily, and that's why they're trying to get rid of him. They send him out on this stuff. That is never going to pass the House of Representatives. And, just send it over to the Senate. Let Schumer and a bunch of liberals over there do it. But don't. McCarthy wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole.
Okay. Let me ask you about this. You're making the rounds on the Internet after an interview where you said the Bible had pretty clear evidence of UFO sightings, called on the federal government to declassify reports. Give me what you mean about the Bible is pretty clear on evidence of UFO sightings first. Yeah. But then I don't want to spend too much time on that. I want to get to releasing the information. What are you thinking?
Yeah, Ezekiel, first chapter of Ezekiel, it pretty much describes what you would call a modern day UFO. The folks that are describing it, of course, it's through a King James translation, but you look at all organized religions that we recognize in the world today, from the Muslims, the Hindus, they've all described something that we would consider a UFO, but it's pretty clear. You go in hieroglyphics and the pyramids, there's crafts that we don't understand.
Okay.
They're showing on the screen
let's
right
leave
there.
that there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to get your thoughts on a UFO. Now, just so you know that I'm not looking at you askance, I saw something in college that I still can't explain, okay? I didn't see aliens coming out, but I saw something in the air that made movements that were unexplainable by any technology we have today. So, and considering, we're just this little rock out in the middle of the Milky Way, there could be something else out there. So what do you think the government may be hiding?
I think they're hiding former crash sites. You go back to Roswell, New Mexico. In 1947, there was two crafts apparently that I've been told that had a midair collision. They immediately put a press release out, said saucer recovered, headline, saucer recovered across the country. The next day they said, oh wait, no, it was a weather balloon. And that's just total bogus. They had something, I think they got it. They wanted to get it under wraps before the Russians or anybody else could get a taste of it. And that's exactly what they did. We've had Navy pilots that describe aerial phenomena that are not there's no way they have any bearing on anything we're doing now. We don't have the technology.
Right.
And these guys are the best trained pilots in the world. It's just the whole thing is bogus, and they've covered it up from day one, and they continue to cover it up. The so-called
like we couldn't handle we couldn't handle whatever the facts are, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Before we go, there are 2 guns behind you. You have one on each side of you, 2 rifles,
yes,
2
sir.
long guns.
Yes,
you want to tell us what those are?
Those are actually guns my dad liberated from some Japanese soldiers. On one from Okinawa and one from off of Peleliu. He was a United States Marine. They're I wouldn't try to fire him today, but I think it's pretty cool that my dad went over there. He kicked some serious butt. He didn't have to go. He was too smart. He went to Georgia Tech. The Marine Corps sent him there to become an officer. He was afraid he's going to miss the war, so he just didn't take his midterm exams. Was on a little island called Peleliu. You probably never heard of it. You ought to read about it in the. Just Google it. The Pacific. They did. Steven Spielberg did a thing. Band of Brothers, but they did one on the Pacific called the Pacific, and it closely followed a guy named Sledge, E.B. Sledge, a book he wrote, and Sledge was a buddy of my dad's. They were on Peleliu at the same time, and I've got some other cool artifacts. I've got another one back there, and some real cool history there. I'm not bragging about my guns or anything. I'm just showing what a cool dad I had that he left.
Yeah, it sounds like you're proud of your dad, and I'm glad I asked you because I love the story. And we'll have to when we have another chance to visit you, we'll have to ask you more. Okay, Congressman?
Let me talk about my mama too. She flew an airplane during the Second World War. Just an old simple country girl. They were both a couple of badasses.
Goodness.
Yeah, they were wonderful people.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway, I appreciate you all so much having me on.
Yes, sir. You had good role models, and thank you, Congressman Burchett. We appreciate you spending time with us, sir.
Thank you, brother. Go get them.